Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Demi. Today's topic is about a complex phenomenon that affects not only the business world, but also everyone's daily life. Made in China. For over 2 decades, Made in China has been the reigning champion of global manufacturing, sneaking its way into our lives faster than the pizza delivery on Friday night. But let's face it, folks, this relationship has started to feel a bit like the bad rom-com plot. You know, the kind where the main character finally realizes they are better off without their toxic partner. Yep, the Made in China label has become the Kleenex who just won't let it go, leaving us wondering how to break free without causing a scene. Today, I'm diving into why it's harder to ditch Made in China than that old sweater from high school, and I will share some ideas on how we can all start swiping left on those products. Now, let's start. Made in China did not appear overnight. It is a result of substantial efforts, particularly from investors in developed economies. Since the early 1990s, after China decided to pursue further economic reforms, foreign direct investment has flooded into the country like a hungry dog seeing meat. Take the US as an example. According to the research by the Rhodium Group, total US direct investment in China exceeded 280 billion US dollar between 1990 and 2020. Japan is another major source of investment, contributing more than 127 billion US dollar up to 2022. Other sources such as Western Europe have also played significant roles in the rise of China's manufacturing sector. China utilized these cash inflows to build infrastructure, factories, production lines, and logistics systems. The country leveraged its low labor costs to attract foreign capital and relocate supply chains to its territory. After the US supported China's entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001, the era of the Make in China was officially unveiled. You know, back in the day, everyone was all about that Made in China label. It was like the golden ticket to getting products everywhere, right? But as time rolled on, folks started noticing some serious red flags popping up. We are talking about sweatshop conditions, kids being put to work, and even forced labor in prisons. And let's not forget about the whole Tiananmen Square mess on June 4th, 1989, where the Chinese government showed its true colors, using tanks and guns on its own people. But despite all this, guess what? Big shot countries were still cozying up to China, treating it like the business best friend forever. They just couldn't quit. And as China's pockets got deeper, as bullying tactics got bolder, think about it. They are stomping on ethnic minorities like Tibet and the Uyghur, playing fast and loose with other countries' territories. For example, artificial islands in the Philippines waters and threatening to invade places like Taiwan. And let's talk about China's squad, North Korea and the Taliban. Seriously? Birds of a feather, right? So, here's the $1 million question. Is it cool to keep doing business with China when they are pulling all this shady stuff? Even if you are not all into politics and stuff, let's be real. When you see Made in China, you don't exactly think top-notch quality, do you? It's more like cheap knockoff territory. And there's a reason for that. Chinese manufacturers often cut corners, using subpar material just to save a few bucks. So, you end up with stuff that falls apart faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. But here's the thing. They don't just stop at making shoddy products. No, they are also big on ripping off other brands and stealing intellectual property. From your everyday groceries to the latest gadgets, Made in China copycats are everywhere. Some Chinese companies even reward their employees for swiping tech from competitors. Take Huawei, for example. In a bizarre turn of events, in 2015, basketball legend Michael Jordan tried to sue this Chinese brand called Jordan, which is like the Chinese version of his name in Beijing. But guess what? The court in Beijing said Jordan isn't the only possible reference for Jordan, and that the logo lacked distinct facial features, making it difficult for consumers to identify it as Jordan's. Sure, counterfeit products exist in every corner of the globe, but this case exemplifies the systematic fraud embedded in the Made in China system. Loads of smart folks and companies have been itching to ditch Made in China for ages. But let's face it, it's easier said than done. Chinese manufacturing has grown into this behemoth that's just too big to topple. And finding an easy alternative without stirring up a boatload of problems, forget about it. China has got this killer combo of top-notch logistics and a manufacturing infrastructure that's hard to beat, especially for other developing countries. So, if you are a big shot company that wants to churn out products quickly and cheaply without paying decent wage back home, well, your options are pretty limited right now. Sure, there are some countries like Mexico or India with decent networks, but they just can't compete with China's global reach. Plus, most countries are not too keen on bulldozing people's homes to build factories, unlike China's approach over the past few decades. And let's not forget how cozy some big investors have gotten with the Chinese government, gladly turning a blind eye to their not so squeaky clean practices for the sake of efficiency. And Chinese manufacturers, they are not dumb. They know their rap and exactly sparkling, though they are trying to pull a fast one by slapping on Western-friendly names to hide their origins. Ever noticed how many Amazon sellers seem to have oddly familiar names? Yep, turns out Amazon's raking big bucks thanks to Made in China, with over 60% of its sellers hailing from there. This also explains why Amazon's killing it in the US, but struggling to make a dent in Asian markets. Local players, much closer to Chinese manufacturers, have the upper hand, putting Amazon at a disadvantage in competing with them in Asia. So now, Chinese businessmen are flipping the script, launching their own platforms like Temu and Shein with Western-friendly branding to crack the US market. Of course, TikTok is just another example of this trend, but this time in the realm of culture and the media. It goes to show that the influence of the Made in China label isn't confined to physical products anymore. With all these factors at play, it's no wonder getting rid of Made in China feels like trying to untangle a knot with one hand tied behind your back. But let's not forget, the best things in life often come with a bit of effort. It's up to us to start making some changes, one step at a time. For starters, I recommend doing more of your shopping offline. With the online platforms overflowing with Made in China products, it's tough for us regular consumers to spot the difference with limited information. But hitting up local markets with trusted local suppliers can be a game changer. After all, if we don't support our own business, who will? More importantly, we need to raise our voices. Take the example of the Country of Origin Labeling Online Act in the US. It was first introduced in the House in 2021, but failed to pass, thanks to opposition from the big players like Amazon. But guess what? In March 2024, it got renewed. It's a golden opportunity for the American consumers to push back against those corporate giants and demand transparency. Let's hope that this time, the American people can successfully defend their rights on their own soil. I get it. Taking on Made in China is no walk in the park. I want to hear from you too. Share your suggestions or thoughts in the comments below. And if you've got a different perspective, don't hold back. Feel free to share your opinions here. Alright, that wraps up today's content. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving the like and subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.